Hi, welcome to Round Robin. I'm Celine Guerrero, Marketing Outreach Manager for the City of Hampton. With us today we have Meena Tamakloe, and she's with the Health Department. Welcome back. You've been here and have discussed very important topics. Today we're talking about safe sleep for infants, and specifically sudden infant death syndrome, also known to everyone as SIDS. Can you tell us about this? I know every parent hears about this when they have their child. New parents worry about it a lot. And what are the risk factors in all of this?
Well, it's good to be back here. And as you said, today we're going to talk about SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. And SIDS is the unexpected, unexplained sudden death of an infant. It usually happens within the first year of life. However, most of the cases we've seen that happens within 2 to 4 months of age, but the risk still continues till 12 months of age. SIDS actually is higher in African American kids, so it's twice higher in as much, and then also among American Indians and Alaskan Indians, they have 3 times the risk compared to Caucasian kids. So it's very high. Also, nationally, we've seen that we have about 3,500 cases every year resulting from SIDS and other sleep-related deaths.
Right. And one question I had, and when 9 years ago when I had our first daughter, it was, always on the back of my mind when I brought this child in, and you're worried, how am I going to take care of her? And you hear about this, but are there any health markers that pediatricians look for? Is there any way to prevent this, or is it just something that we have to watch out for?
Well, that's a good question. Unfortunately, with SIDS, we do not know what causes it, so it's very difficult to prevent it. However, it's been identified as certain behaviors contributes to that. So we have identified some risk factors. And one of the risk factors is putting the baby on their stomach to sleep.
Okay.
Now, what happens is when a baby is on their stomach, they tend to sleep very deep, and so it's difficult to wake them up. And also it's believed that when they're on their stomach, they tend to rebreathe the carbon dioxide that they had to breathe out because there's not enough surface area. Now, the other thing that we've seen in most of the cases is co-sleeping. So when a parent has a child, the infant in bed with them, they tend to suffocate from all the soft bedding, so your pillow, your blankets, they tend to suffocate, or parent might roll over the baby, or the baby can be trapped in between the bed and the wall. So that's also one of the reasons. We've also seen that smoking, so secondhand smoke inhalation, or even when the mom was pregnant, if they're around somebody who smokes, or the mom smoked during pregnancy, that could cause that. And the other risk factors that has been identified is overheating. So now that we are about to enter the cold season, most parents will think that the baby is cold, so you tend to bundle them up, you tend to heat up, and these babies easily overheat, and that can cause SIDS as well.
Okay, and another thing that I read recently, and we discussed it briefly, was that now it's being encouraged that parents have the baby sleeping in their room in a crib, not specifically co-sleeping, but in a crib in the same room. And what did they find? How did that help?
So absolutely. So the new recommendations that just came out about a month or so now.
Yeah, it was very recent.
Yes. So the American Academy of Pediatrics is actually recommending that parents have the baby room in with them. So you bring your crib or the bassinet or pack and play and set it right next to your bed, because it makes you feel comfortable. Because when you talk to parents to try to find out why they have the baby with them in bed, one of the reasons is they want to, keep an eye on their baby. So in order to prevent that, we recommend that your baby is right there with you, but in a separate, sleeping surface.
And they do. they have cribs now. You could put them at, level them right next to your bed, and don't have to put the bar all the way down,
right.
but just enough where you could reach over if you
That's
need
correct.
to. I know for myself, I nursed both my kids, so it was easier to have them close to me, and I did have the crib right next to the bed, and it was very easy. One thing though that, and now family members, grandparents and grandmas and moms tell new moms, they prefer sleeping on the belly. Now there are a lot, and you did mention, that is a no, and they talk about the flat head and having them on the back, or what are some other things that are no, that you cannot do just to prevent something like that from happening?
So as I've already mentioned, unfortunately, our grandparents or our mothers did things differently, and a whole lot has changed. So definitely we encourage that we teach, grandparents that it's no longer safe for a baby to sleep on your stomach. Again, like, as I mentioned earlier, because the baby tends to sleep deep, so they prefer to put them on your stomach so the baby can sleep well, but then it's not safe, absolutely not safe to do that. The other thing that we've noticed is people tend to put their babies on your stomach because they think that the baby's going to have flat spot. Right? If you always put them on their back, then they tend to have flat spots, or they think that the baby will choke. Unfortunately, no. The baby will not choke because of the placement of the esophagus and the trachea. It's not likely that when you put a baby on their back and they spit, they would choke.
Right.
So these are some of the reasons why people tend to put baby on their stomach.
And what about pacifiers? Is that a safe thing to give the baby a pacifier and put them in their crib, or is that a hazard or something that we need to look out for?
So pacifier definitely is one of the things that we're recommending to reduce the risk of SIDS.
Okay.
So when a baby sleeps, we recommend that you put the pacifier in their mouth. However, if you are breastfeeding, if you plan to breastfeed, we want you to wait until breastfeeding is established, because we want to prevent nipple confusion.
Right.
So we want you to wait till breastfeeding is going well, and then you just put the pacifier. Whenever baby sleep, you give them the pacifier. The other thing that helps is breastfeeding. Actually, with the new research, breastfeeding has been found to reduce the risk of SIDS by 70%.
Wow.
Now we all know
That is
the
pretty
benefits,
incredible.
right? Yeah. So I believe it's the benefits that the babies get from the risk for respiratory illnesses is low. They don't get gas a lot, or allergies a lot. So I believe that's what contributes to that.
That is. And what other ways can we reduce this? And now it's not, it is sudden infant death syndrome also comes with a whole lot. Bedding and the bumpers, we want the crib to look really pretty and everything, but those things out of the crib can reduce that risk. That's correct, right?
Absolutely. So here are a few things that we recommend parents to do and all caregivers to do to prevent the risk to actually reduce the risk of SIDS. So number one is that the baby has to be on their back to sleep at all times, even during nap times. However, when the baby is awake, we need to do supervised tummy time. So you put the baby on your tummy, which relieves a little bit pressure off the back of the head, and it also helps the baby strengthen their shoulder and neck muscles. So in case even there's something in their face, they know how to turn.
Right.
The other thing is in the crib. Now the crib has to be empty. So no pillows, no stuffed animals, no blankets. Even the bumper pads. All you need is a firm mattress and a fitted sheet. That's all you need. No more, decorating the crib because it's not safe. The other thing is absolutely you have to avoid smoking. Okay, so you have to make sure you keep the baby away from people who smoke. You have to make sure that baby's immunization is up to date. So in case there's any health issues, it can be taken care of. The other things that we can do, like we've already said, passive use of pacifier, breastfeeding as well helps to reduce the risk of SIDS. Now, some parents tend to use monitors, thinking that it can reduce risk. The SIDS, unfortunately, it doesn't. So we don't want them to put their trust in it, thinking that if I buy a monitor, it's going to, save my baby, it's going to prevent SIDS. So we want to, advise parents not to put their trust in in the monitors.
Right, and really there is no way to prevent it because there are no health markers that you can look out for, but there are ways to reduce that risk by, not smoking, by having, the crib just completely empty. And everything else that you had said. But it is a big topic, and it is something that every parent does worry about. And the ages to look out for are from newborn through 12 months.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't realize that it's all the way through 12 months because the baby can move now. At 6, 7 months, they are rolling over, my baby's crawling. But those risks are still there.
Yeah, the risks are still there. And we still, even though the baby starts turning after 6 months or so, we still want to put the baby on their back. However, if they keep turning, you don't have to get up and go put them on their back because they can turn. And that's why it's important not to put anything in the crib. Well, what we actually want to advise with the health department, one of the things that we are working on, Department of Health, one thing we are working on is providing safe sleep education. So we go to the WIC offices, we have classes at the health department. We also provide pack and play to families who cannot afford cribs. So ways to help because we want to prevent co-sleeping. So just to have people understand that there is, support there, you can contact the health department, receive safe sleep education, and if you don't have a crib, we can help you with a pack and play.
That's wonderful. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share?
One of the things I want to share is that I want to encourage, nurses, like nursery nurses and staff and NICU to model safe sleep before discharge because parents are likely, moms are likely going to model that if they see a nurse doing it, they're going to more than likely do the same at home. And it's also important that we start educating earlier. So during the prenatal period, if you go for your prenatal appointment, I think these mothers have to hear about safe sleep. They don't have to wait until the discharge period because there is so much going on and they might not even hear, they might not understand everything that's being taught to them before discharge. So it's our responsibility to educate. Also at daycares, it happens. About 20% of the cases happen in daycares. So we encourage mothers to find out when they start taking their babies to daycare, find out what their sleep, if they have a safe sleep policy, or if it's a home care that you're using, you need to find out and you need to educate them what you want to do.
Right.
It's very, very important, yes.
Yeah, it is important to be as educated and as informed as possible because babies do not come with an instruction book, and it's just like you just kind of learn as you go and you do your best. Well, thank you so much, Meena, for being here again, and we look forward to having you back to discuss more important topics. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.